Hello, everybody. iSurvivor 37 Port Royale exit interview here today with our season's fourth boot, Megan. She's from the Blackbeard tribe. Hey, Megan, how are you?
I'm pretty good. Just been catching up on some sleep since I got out.
Oh, I can imagine. For those who don't know, or for those who do know, Megan is one of the two international players this season. She's from the United Kingdom. She's from England. And yeah, so she's had to manage the crazy time zone differences, which the first four episodes it looked like you were managing pretty well, Megan. Would do you agree with that?
I think I was managing that all right. I don't think the reason I went out was really due to the time zone difference. I think
Yeah. So why do you think you went out? What's your opinion on, you being fourth out of Blackbeard?
um I think it just eventually came down to some people establishing stronger connections than I had managed to, and I think eventually that the different relationships just ended up with me falling on the outside of most of them. So
Would you
it kind of
believe
became
would you believe me if I told you that the decision between, I guess, who was the other, who was the I think the other option at that point was between you and Nay.
that's what I was being told.
Yes. And would you believe me if I told you that had you possibly been around that last half hour, 45 minutes, I'm not sure exactly when you went to bed. I just know that the decision from at least, my hosting perspective, from what I could gather, that decision was made like super duper last minute. Would you believe me if I said that?
From what I've learned now, yes.
Yeah, obviously you're like, I'm not gonna not believe you, saying what kind of questions that. Yeah, but from my vantage point, I was like, kept on looking to see, okay, where's Megan? I know she's gonna show up, because up until that point, you were always present in like crunch time, right? So do you
Yeah.
think, is there any regret in, like, because from my standpoint, it's sort of like maybe you saw the writing on the wall and you're like, fuck these people, they don't want to talk to me, I'm the vote, like screw y'all type of thing, right? Maybe.
Um, kind of. I think it was like I'd been trying to get people to talk to me most of the day,
Mhm.
and I didn't really have much energy left to fight it at
Yeah.
that point.
Yeah, that's so unfortunate, because again, I'm not going to say it would have went one way or the other, but I do think if you were around, it possibly could have changed, honestly. And I'm not, like, if you were dead in the water, I would be like, yeah, Megan, you were dead in the water. But that at least was, from my perspective, not the case.
Yeah, well,
Any, now knowing that, any just like tinge of like, fuck, maybe I should have used a little bit of my reserve to just try.
maybe. I,
Slightly.
yeah, I know, like, I know myself when I get in a negative headspace like I was in that night. I'm not that good at socializing with people, so I don't know what I really would have been able to accomplish there, but yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I know it's rough. Obviously, as a host and a gamer, it's rough, like days of tribal council, because sometimes in games, like, you don't hear anything. You know what I mean? You don't hear anything until like the last little bit where shit hits the fan. And I know it's hard during that time of silence to be like, oh, to keep that faith, right?
Yeah.
But like, let's rewind a little bit, because you were seemingly like in a good position. Um, at least at the start, at like the first tribal council, when y'all initially started the losing streak with Anthony getting voted out. Tell me a little bit about like how you got yourself into what looked like a majority alliance.
Well, I think it was mainly through connecting with Bobby on the first night quite heavily. And then through that, we kind of just, there was a lot, I know from Bobby particularly, there was a lot of, we need to get certain people out of the tribe. And honestly, at that point, I didn't want to really rock the boat. So this, as soon as it was proposed that we try and pull in like Rachel and Taisha to get a group going there, I kind of just wanted to go with it.
And that not rocking the boat and being in that same position continued on into the second round when y'all lost again and got rid of Missy. Then what happened?
um, well, I can't know for sure what happened, but I had a feeling once everyone wanted to target Bobby that I wasn't entirely in the loop on what was going on, because obviously I'd heard it mentioned a couple of times that people saw me and Bobby as being pretty close. So once that happened, I knew I was probably not going to be in the best place. But I think it was just, as I say, connections forming that I just wasn't privy to, really.
Is there any regret in not, if people perceived you close to Bobby, is there any regret that like not going and filling him in maybe when his name was going around?
Maybe a little bit, because obviously I knew he had the idol. In one sense, yeah, because then maybe we could have pulled something off and I could have tried to figure out a better position the next round. But on the other hand, if I had done that, would everyone have known, and then would I have been thrown out the next round anyway?
Yeah, it's like sort of a possible damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. And it's easy to say after the fact, right? Like, oh, I wish I would have done that. Could see things a little bit more clearly, right? Now that you've been out of the game for a round, what do you think it is? Like, now you can speak candidly because you're not a tribal council. I'm asking you what the fuck is wrong with Blackbeard. But now that you're out of the game, what the fuck is wrong with Blackbeard?
An obsession with voting out the people who are better at challenges.
Honestly, from my perspective, y'all like, okay, I understand the dynamic from the first round. It's fresh. There's a supposed foursome already built based off of hierarchy, and then everybody else scatters and makes another majority. I understand that, but like, Anthony was one of the best performers in the first challenge. Missy did fuck up on the musician. She played one day, but there was 2 days in between that round, so she missed one of those days. But she did perform really well in that like insane puzzle. And then Bobby did sleep for 8 hours, but of the points that were scored, Bobby did score the most. So from a host perspective, it's sort of like, yeah, you guys were voting out people who actually sort of maybe did contribute. Do you think Blackbeard's just like a socially run tribe?
I think it was a lot. I think a lot of the decisions were determined on social connections rather than challenge strength, which may not have been the right decisions.
If you could pick somebody who's quote unquote like a running Blackbeard, who is it?
Oh, it'd be a struggle to pick between Livingston and Taisha, to be honest.
Livingston and Taisha. Why would you say that those two?
I remember like when the round Missy went, Livingston was pushing really, really hard for it to be Missy rather than Nay, which probably should have been slightly more worrying than it was at the time. But I think probably that. But I know they're both really social. I know Taisha seemed to have close relationships with at least 2 or 3 people on the tribe. So I imagine she probably has quite a bit of influence. I might be wrong then.
Yeah. So on behalf of myself and production, you were like, hold on, let me do a little spoilers, Megan. I'm going to our EDGIC chart, okay? Okay, so round 1, somebody on production has you as the winner pick. Round 2, another person on production has you as the winner pick. Round 3, the same production member from the first round went back to you and had you as their winner pick.
Wow.
So that goes to show like the edit that you were getting from our perspective, the positions that we saw you in, or the maneuvers, like the avenues you could have went, right? Like
Okay.
You were a fantastic player. And you leaving was, at least to me, sort of like, what the fuck? It like happened so quickly. I don't want you to sit there thinking, oh, you were completely on the outs, you never had a shot. It was sort of just like a wave. It came, went, and in a blink of an eye type of thing. So you were kicking ass out there. And thank you for like, I know you were nervous, and this is sort of like a little bit, I don't want to say out of your comfort zone because you're a gamer, but maybe this just like
Yeah.
was just a little bit different than what you're used to.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. I don't think I hadn't filmed a video confessional ever until about a week before this started.
no way.
Um,
Did you obviously getting voted out is not the best feeling. I've been there many, many times, but did you enjoy the experience for your time out there?
Oh yeah, 100%. It was really fun. It's like, as I say, it was definitely a challenge from my perspective because I've always found it a lot easier to communicate what I'm thinking in a written format.
Mm-hmm.
So having to so hard focus on communicating everything vocally was definitely an interesting challenge, and I like trying to challenge myself. So that was definitely something I liked.
Mm-hmm. If and honestly though, if you were struggling with it, I couldn't tell. I felt like the uh on the calls and what I witnessed, you integrated really, really well. Yes, you were quieter, but that's because like between Bobby's and Maxton's and Livingston's, how much and like Rachel's, they're louder, extroverted people. So how much how much could you get in between those people anyway, right? But yeah, I think you adapted very well. Next question to you. If me, Rocky, or Drew, a couple months down the line, hit you up, said, "Hey, Megan, would you like a second chance? Would you ever consider playing again?"
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Queen, we love to hear it. Is there anything you want to get off your chest before we wrap this up? Any just like parting words to either viewers, production, your tribe who keeps losing?
Completely first try. Oh gosh. I don't really think so. Just thank you for casting me. I guess it was really fun.
No, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for taking us seriously. Thank you for getting your homework in. And thank you for kicking ass out there for 12 days.
Thank you.
We will see you very, very soon. Okay. Love you, mean.